Stereo imaging is the worst explained concept on YouTube. There are dozens of videos detailing various plugins and techniques that outline how to stereo image, but not what stereo imaging actually is or actually does. In the next 5 minutes, I'm not only going to give you the tools to stereo image anything, but give you enough understanding to release you creatively into the world of widening sound. Please listen in headphones for this tutorial to be effective. What is it? Stereo widening is creating differences between the left and the right ear so that your brain believes that a sound source is coming from multiple directions at the same time. This is useful in two circumstances. First, if two elements are fighting for the same frequency space, stereo imaging can allow both to exist without conflict. In another circumstance, if a mono sound is boring, stereo imaging can bring interest to the sound. To perform stereo widening, separate the left and the right channels and add different effects to each. It's that simple. Time, pitch, tone. There are 3 axes you can play with when stereo widening a sound: time, pitch, and tone. To affect time, add a delay to one of your stereo separated tracks. Turn off sync and bring down the time value between 1 to 45 milliseconds. If your delay is too long, your brain will believe the sound is coming from two different places at different times, instead of 2 different places at the same time. To affect pitch, choose a pitch shifting plugin. Shift the pitch of one of the tracks. Here's what that sounds like. Tone is less defined. By EQing, distorting, or in some way affecting one side differently than the other, you can create stereo width. Frequency rules and phasing. Now that we understand what stereo imaging is and how to do it, let's focus on 2 very important rules. The higher you are in the frequency spectrum, the more stereo widening you can get away with. Bass frequencies should always be mono, because your ears don't pick up direction information with bass frequencies. When stereo widening a mono track, make sure that the track still sounds good in mono. If you hear a whooshing in and out of any frequencies or volume in your track, you've found a phasing issue. This occurs when the left and right channel are different, but not different enough. If you run out of room on one of the axes, you can use another axis to supplement until you hear no phasing issues. Plugins which do this already. There are multitudes of plugins which stereo widen your track naturally. Here are some effects that you can use to naturally widen your mono sounds. Chorus affects the pitch of both channels. Reverb affects the timing of both channels. Phasers affect the timing of both channels. Flanger affects the pitch and timing of both channels. Using any of these plugins will most likely result in more stereo width. Conclusion. There are many ways to accomplish stereo widening not mentioned here. Explore others' tutorials if you need more help, or email me with your questions. Thank you for joining me today. If you would like to understand more about the universe, subscribe to Neoplume's Theory.